For that reason, we get called lots of names. So when they started calling us pirates, I said, that's okay. Well, if you want us to be pirates, we'll be pirates. So we got ourselves our own pirate flag. Because, you know, if you go back to the 17th century, it wasn't the British government that shut down piracy in the Caribbean. They were too busy taking bribes. Piracy was shut down by Henry Morgan, a pirate. So if you want to stop pirates, you need pirates to do it. And the great thing about being a pirate is you're not encumbered by bureaucracy. So we don't have to worry about all of that. So the big organizations, the big corporations, and the governments, that's their big problem. They can't do anything because they got bureaucrats on their tail and lawyers telling them what they can't do. We don't have that, so we can get the job done. Sea Shepherd has got 3 vessels right now. The Steve Irwin is now heading across the Indian Ocean through the Suez Canal and will be in the Mediterranean within a month. The Gojira, which by the way in Japanese means gorilla whale, which in English means Godzilla, is on its way through the Panama Canal. And I just couldn't resist that name just for the headlines in Tokyo. I said, oh my God, Godzilla is stopping the whaling fleet. But they'll be in the Mediterranean, and in June we'll be taking on poachers off the coast of Libya who will be taking advantage of the war situation there, and that's to protect bluefin tuna. Now, the bluefin tuna is a good example of the problems that we have when it comes to protecting our oceans, because unfortunately now we have corporations that have taken over the fishing industry to the point where they actually are investing in extinction. They want to see these species go extinct. Now that doesn't sound like a very smart thing, but when you consider it from their point of view, it's short-term investment for short-term gain. Now, Mitsubishi is actually a good example of this. They're packing bluefin tuna into their warehouses in Japan. And the more bluefin that they put in there, the less there are in the oceans. And that scarcity translates into higher values for the ones that are in the warehouses. So the bluefin tuna right now is a fish that's worth $75,000 a piece. Most expensive fish in the world, and it should be endangered, but it's still being taken. And if you wipe them out, then the value goes up $250,000, $300,000, and billions of dollars in profits for the people who are taking them. So there is actually a conscious effort to drive species into extinction in order to make a profit. The problem that we have here is that the value of a fish in the ocean is worth far more than on anybody's plate, because the fish maintain the integrity of the marine ecosystems. And if the fish die, the oceans die. And if the oceans die, we all die. We cannot live on this planet with a dead ocean, and we are killing our oceans. So we have to really become aware of that more and more, and to understand how intimately connected we are with those oceans. One of the ways that to best explain this is that if you look at where you are and what you are, right now you're on a spaceship. The Earth is a spaceship. This actually should be called the planet Ocean, not the planet Earth. But it is a spaceship, and it is traveling through space right now at a speed of approximately 500 miles per second around the galaxy. Now, like any spaceship, it has a life support system. And our life support system on spaceship Earth is called the biosphere. Now, the biosphere is maintained by a crew, because all species on the planet are either divided into crew or passengers. Human beings are passengers. We're not crew. We're having a great time entertaining ourselves, but we're not running the spaceship. The spaceship is maintained by those species which are providing the air that we breathe, the food that we eat, and are cleaning up the mess that we make, as well as the mess that other species make. These are the custodians, the engineers that are running this ship. And they are the species that we have very little respect for. Bacteria, insects, worms, and fish. They are the crew, and we're killing off our crew. Unfortunately, there's only so many crew members you can kill off before the whole thing starts to collapse, and we lose our life support system. You know, a couple of years ago, I was severely criticized because I made a statement where I said that worms are more important than people. And everybody got very upset about that. I mean, how dare you say something so outrageous as to say worms are more important than people? Well, I said it for a very good reason. Worms are more important than people. And the reason being is that worms can live on the earth without us. We cannot live on this planet without them. We need them, they don't need us. We need bacteria and insects and fish, they don't need us. They are the crew, and we have to protect them. And if we don't protect them, then we're going to simply die off. So that's very important that we understand that. We are intimately connected to these other species, and we must protect them. And we must learn how to live within the boundaries of the basic laws of ecology. That is the law of diversity, that the strength of an ecosystem is dependent upon diversity within it. The law of interdependence, that those species are interdependent with each other. And the law of finite resources, that there's a limit of growth, a limit to carrying capacity. And right now we are stealing the carrying capacity from so many species of plants and animals that we're now living in a situation which Richard Leakey described as the sixth major extinction event on the planet. We will lose more species of plants and animals between the year 2000 and the year 2065 than we've lost in the last 65.2 million years. That rate of extinction is unprecedented, and we are responsible to the point where scientists have already given this extinction event a name. It's called the Homocene, because we are responsible for it. But there's one species that's going to be on this list that we should be very concerned about, and that is the human species, because if we drive all these other species to extinction, we will drive ourselves into extinction. I wasn't actually suggesting that. But what I'm saying is that we have to understand what our role is. And our role is to help the crew, not to destroy the crew. And the problem is that it's very hard to get people involved in the conservation environmental movement because for the most part we're primates and we get distracted very easily. And therefore we're far too interested in entertaining ourselves than we are in actually getting the job done and getting on with it. In fact, if you take the number of people who are subscribers to the video game Warcraft, it exceeds the number of people who are involved in the conservation environmental movement. So more